In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the processing page of the CQ18T mixer to mix vocals. The tips in this video can be used for both speech and singing styles. Preamp Stage. The preamp stage is where we set the input gain of the microphone. The auto set function can be used here to automatically set gain. To set gain manually, I'll speak into the microphone and increase the gain until the signal reaches around here on this meter. It is important not to increase the gain too much here, as this may cause feedback and distortion through your speakers. The topmost smart rotary gets assigned to the selected input's gain for quicker control. The auto gain function can be activated for dealing with distortion or input clipping. This is useful for vocals, as sometimes singers sing louder during their live performance. This feature will automatically reduce the amount of gain if the input signal gets too loud. I also use the high-pass filter and set it to around 100 Hz. This helps to reduce microphone handling noise and other low frequencies that can cause muddiness. Be careful not to set this frequency too high, as this can make the voice sound thin. A good level is around 60 Hz for a male voice and around 90 Hz for a female voice. Gate. A gate or a noise gate is typically used to remove noise. To set this up for vocals, set the attack to its lowest setting. This will ensure that when someone speaks or sings into the mic, the noise gate reacts immediately. Set the hold to around 100 to 300 milliseconds and the release between 100 and 400 milliseconds. In general, 100 milliseconds is a good starting point for both the hold and the release. The threshold determines when the gate engages and reduces the volume of the voice. If the input signal falls below this threshold, the gate will activate and mute the microphone. On the other hand, if the threshold is too high, some words may be cut out. An easy way to remember this is that anything below the threshold is noise and anything above is speech. We can also use the meter on the left to set the threshold. When I stop speaking into the microphone, we can see that there is still some signal around 60 dB. This is normally inaudible, but with multiple microphone inputs, it can become a big problem and can sound like a hiss through the PA system. To remove this noise, I set the threshold slightly above the noise. The depth setting determines how much the noise is reduced in volume. This is my personal preference, but I generally go for around 20 dB of reduction. The red meter shows when the noise gate is reducing the input signal. This meter also reacts to the attack and release functions for more precise control. Moving on to EQ, this is where we can help improve the tone of the voice. RTA or real-time analysis can be used here to get a better understanding of the frequency response of the voice. This can help us identify any muddiness, sibilance, or imbalances in the frequencies of the voice. Having said that, we should always rely more on our ears than our eyes when using EQ, but the RTA function is a good place to start if you're just getting started. How we use the EQ to shape the sound is very subjective, as every voice is different, but here are some general guidelines to help you shape your voice. Boomy or muddy vocals. Reduce the gain around 200 Hz to clear the vocal of muddiness. Keep the Q value or the top parameter between 0.4 and 0.3. Increase the band to add body to the voice. Bright or harsh vocals. To add brightness to the voice, boost around 3 kHz. Reduce gain here if the voice is too bright or harsh. Keep the Q value between 0.7 and 0.8. General tips. When boosting, avoid using high Q values or creating peaks. Check that the EQ has improved the tone of the voice by using the in function. This disables the EQ so you can judge the changes made. Move around. Make sure to move around the venue as you mix vocals, as the room can drastically change the tone of the voice. Compressor. A compressor is used to control the dynamics of a performance. There is some debate as to whether we EQ or compress first. but on the processing page of the CQ series mixers, the compressor comes after the EQ. This is a very versatile compressor with features such as RMS, peak, hard and soft knee. There is also a gain reduction meter, and a highly responsive live graph is displayed when the compressor is engaged. Let's take a closer look at this graph. For voice, the spoken style generally has more transient phrases. Singing, on the other hand, appears smoother on this graph, depending on the genre. Here are some guidelines for using the compressor for spoken and singing styles. For spoken style, set the compressor mode to peak with a soft knee. The peak mode is better at detecting transients, and the soft knee will result in more transparent compression. Set the ratio between 2 and 6. Set the threshold so it catches the peaks or the transients. Set the release between 50 and 100 milliseconds. Increase or decrease the attack to control the transients. A fast attack means less transients, and a slower attack means more transients. Now turn up the gain to generally match the output signal to the input signal, and then adjust the fader so it's not too loud. For singing styles, set the compression mode to RMS with either hard or soft knee. Set the ratio between 3 and 5. Set the threshold so it catches the peaks or loud parts of the performance. You can use this graph here to set this more accurately, and you may need to ask the singer to sing for a while as you get this right. Set the release between 50 and 100 milliseconds. Use the attack control to bring the vocal forward or backward in the mix. The faster the attack, the further away the voice will feel, and the slower the attack, the closer the vocal will feel. General tips. Threshold. Don't set this too low, as this will result in the vocal getting squashed and losing its impact. Don't set the release too long. This won't let the compressor recover quickly enough and can lose its impact. Use the gain and the fader control to bring the vocal to the desired level. Effects. On the effects page of the mixer, we can also apply reverb, delay, and other digital effects to enhance the vocal performance. The effects can be set to shared mode or inserted on a single input. For my choir, I mainly use the plate reverb in shared mode and adjust the level through the input tab. This makes the vocals sound like they are in a similar space as the reverb size is the same. In a band setting, I would also use a delay effect to enhance the vocal. Be careful not to overdo this. Generally, if you as the front of house mixer can hear the reverb or other effects distinctly, then it's probably distracting for the audience. However, as this mixer allows for great creative expression, I feel confident when applying crazy amounts of delay to vocals if it suits the artist and the song. One tip I have here is to use the output EQ on these effects and set it to a high pass filter and bring it to around 100 Hz. This will get rid of any low rumble of the reverb or the delay effect. I hope this video was useful. I'm probably going to make a video on how to mix a band using this mixer and dive into the effects page, as I feel it's really powerful. As I'm going back to work and uni, it's been more difficult to make videos, but I'm constantly looking at comments, so feel free to leave any questions you have there and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.